Hi everybody, and welcome to this edition of Women Unlimited TV. I'm Julie Hall, the founder of Women Unlimited, and it's my great privilege to have with me Rasheed Ogunlaru, and his web address is www.rasaru.com. That's RASURU.com. And Rasheed is a life coach and oh gosh, I mean, he's got a great relationship with the British Library, but you have a specific way of defining this, Rasheed. How do you define your relationship with the British Library?
Yeah, well, we're friends.
As are we, but they're a great organization. But what do you do specifically for them?
Well, I'm a life coach and a business coach. So in plain English, my job is to help people move ahead in their life, their careers, their businesses. And I'm the life and business coach partner. So once every month, I deliver a workshop called Your Life, Your Business, that gives people the space to stop and look at where they are, where they're going, their life and their business, because of course they're both one. And just to say, the website's rasaru.com with the name RASARU.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put the web address underneath your picture so everybody can go and reach that. But I know lots of people that have attended Rasheed's workshop and they absolutely rave about it and find it quite life-changing. And now I'm thrilled to say you've just launched a new book, haven't you? Do you want to show us your book? Yay! So your new book called Soul Trader.
Yeah, Soul Trader, putting the heart back into your business. And it's all about how is it that you build a business that you love, that customers love, based on your own passions and your own skills, and building your business your way. Because I think that one of the things is that people often feel as though business should be done somebody else's way. You've seen somebody else do it, and you know, all these big guys are doing business. But how do you do it in a way that's really authentic to you? And actually, I'm really glad to be here chatting to Women Unlimited on TV about it, because for me, it actually covers quite a lot of the feminine aspects of business. You know, it's all about building a business based on 7 principles. And they're things like compassion, cooperation, conversations, cooperation. This is exactly the stuff that women are great at and that women bring to business. So it's really looking about doing business a new way, with heart, with compassion, collaboratively, because so many people not only want to do what they love, but they want to do it lovingly and compassionately. They're wanting to run business that about caring or supporting other people in some way. And this book is all for those kind of people who are wanting to do their own thing their own way.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I think that's so true. You know, it feels like, particularly for women, we're going through a transition phase. And people are more and more starting businesses because it's something that they feel they have to do. It's a purpose. It's a passion. It's not just about the money. And I think this works so well for women.
Completely, you're so right. And you know, it's funny, you know, one of the first things it says, I think in the introduction, it's saying, you know, that people just don't set up their business just to make money. They do it to make a difference, to make something that's of touching to them, to have an impact, to do what they really, really love. And you're so right that there are so many people who are having to, either through necessity, through redundancy, through serial redundancy, or through some passion or something that they just need to do, or they realize that they can do, want to set up their own business. And many of those people are women, and many of those people who are really bringing something really magical into the business place are women, you know, and they're wanting to do that, and they're wanting just different things. They're wanting a business that is in balance with their life. They don't want necessarily business to be their whole life. But if it is their whole life, they want it to be reflective of all those different dimensions of their life. And we're in a completely new era now in terms of business, and lots of the old ways just don't work, or, you know, for people. And the business landscape has also been changed by women. People like Anita Roddick, who are saying, hey, there's a different way in which we can do this. We need to be collaborative. We need to be concerned more. We need to think about what kind of an impact that we're having. And so this book is for those people, many of whom, I think that one of the reasons why I wanted to do it was that when I started in business, I knew nothing about business. I was lucky enough to have a background.
You and me both, Rasheed.
Hey, you haven't done too badly. You've done brilliantly well. And this is the point, isn't it? You know, I didn't know much about business, but I did know a lot about people, and I did know a lot about PR. And I didn't realize until over a long period of time that actually the skills that I use, building connections, building relationships, putting myself forward, connecting with people, how I built my business was actually the way that lots of people are now building businesses, through brands and through their own passion. And so I wanted to write a book that helps people, those people who are better at connecting with people, the thing that you were saying about sharing stories, to help people to build their business their own way by tapping into their own values, tapping into their own resources, tapping into their own connections, and using them to grow their own business, because business also means different things to different people now. One person just wants to do something to make a living, somebody else wants to do this or that. It's completely changed, it's completely opened up, and this is the era that we're in now.
Totally agree. Now, so if somebody picks up your book, Rasheed, what are they going to get out of it?
Yeah, it's like a coach yourself book. It really helps you from scratch to help you to coach yourself. What I've done is I've looked at the book through 7 key principles. So first of all, it helps you gain clarity. It helps you look at who am I, where am I at right now? Maybe I'm employed, maybe I've just started out in business, maybe I've been in business for a few years now and I'm wanting to move forward. So it helps you to become clear about who you are, what's really important to you, what your values are in life, not just business. And for many people, women in business particularly, there are a number of things. Maybe that person plays a number of different roles. Maybe they're a friend, maybe they're a carer, maybe they're a mum, maybe they're this, maybe there's other things that's really important to you. So first of all, it helps you get clarity on where you are and gives you that space to explore, actually, what do I want business to be for me? So it starts off with clarity. Then it helps them look at customers. It's based on 7 C's. Customers is the second one. Who are your customers? What do they want? Maybe they want something completely different. And then it taps into courage. Now, that's a big one, particularly for women in business. Very often we've had to have a lot of courage. People have got to have a lot of courage to start up in business. How can you tap into your courage? So it really takes the reader on a journey to tap into their own courage, external and internal courage. And it moves on then to cooperation, saying, where are you at? What kind of help do you need? Who's in your network? Who do you need to reach out for so that you get that cooperation? And then next up is conversations, because everything's a conversation. What your website says, what your brand says, what the books on the bookshelf say, what everybody in your network is saying. So it's helping you identify who are the people that you need, who can you tap into. And the exciting thing, and I think this is very powerful, and particularly for women, and look at the richness of something like the Women Unlimited network. People come along to your events and they realize, actually, I thought it was just me one, but I'm meeting this lady over here who does this one over here does this. And the power, the magic that happens from those people meeting at events like your events is profound. So it really helps people to tap into that rich web of contacts that they have. And then conversations. It's saying, actually, everything is a conversation. Your website, this, who could you be chatting to? How can you have that conversation in a way that's really compelling? Because very often the things that we say in person or in a website and so on, again, it's what somebody else should be saying. We're not telling our story.
Yeah, and it's quite difficult, I think, sometimes for people to find that way of expressing themselves that feels real and feels authentic. I think particularly if you've come from a corporate background, where language is so formal and you have to be very careful about everything that you're saying, it kind of makes us a bit reticent, when we go out on our own.
You're so right. So this is kind of helping you, again, there's a lot of psychology in it. It helps you understand things from the other person's point of view. And finding out that conversations chapter, I've also put in some tips to how to handle some of those difficult conversations, how to turn down an email request, how to complain, how to do this, how to do that. So there's lots of practical stuff.
Great.
So it moves on from the conversations, and then it looks at creativity, because whether you're starting with your brand business, how can you be creative? And for me, creativity starts with, how are you at your best? How do you perform at your best? Maybe you're your best first thing in the morning. How could you incorporate that? Maybe you're at your best when you've gone and had a yoga class or whatever. Maybe you're at your best when you're surrounded by other people. It helps you understand that. But it also, there are some other tools that I put in toward the end, like a 2-page business plan, because I find that people need a combination between framework and flexibility. So it kind of gives you that support that you need. And then it comes into compassion. And that compassion is the 7th theme. And that's really inviting you to take care of yourself. Self-care. So many people are doing so many things. And I bet you meet lots of people who are doing this. Running business is tough. But first of all, invite you to be compassionate to yourself. You're able to give yourself space, take care of yourself. But then to ensure, are you actually loving what you're doing? And how can you build a business that people love by building those rich relationships? And then we've thrown in an 8th concluding C, which is change. Because everything's going to change. You're going to change. Your mind's going to change. It's going to change. The economy is going to change. To embrace that. So it helps people embrace that. So it's really a coach yourself manual that people can come back to time after time or dip into for the thing that's really kind of relevant for them. And I made it kind of fun and creative. There's a, the layout is, we've got these different kind of cards.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a little bit of fun. So often people pick up so many books, don't they, Julian? They're hard work. And so we've got, I wanted it to be like a game. I wanted the who's reading it to feel as though they're part of it, so that somebody can say, actually, for me, clarity is this, or courage, I need this courage, so that they are a participant from the word go.
Yeah, and I would totally agree. And we'll come on to sort of discussing this a little bit, but about 4 years ago when I created Women Unlimited, I went to a Roger Hamilton event. Are you familiar with Roger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So his event was called Your Life, Your Legacy, and his opening gambit on the first night was, what do you want your legacy to be? And, you know, at the time I was like, oh, I'm going to help, because I was running my web design business. I'm going to help small business owners getting their word out. And all I could hear was blah, 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 blah. You know, when your own message isn't resonating with you. And you know, my just out of nowhere, and I had no concept of this, I said, I really want to help women create successful businesses. And that was the thing. And for me, that was my moment, right? And I think so often we get so stuck in our own businesses and we're afraid of changing, and we don't, you know, your point about failure, we don't necessarily want to show other people that perhaps what we were doing wasn't the right thing. So we trap ourselves and end up creating lives that aren't necessarily what we're looking for, rather than, you know, really following our heart and creating something that's truly magnificent.
You are so right. And what you've put your finger on, that's exactly the essence of the book. It is exactly about that. You know, how do you just stop wherever it is that you're at and ask yourself, like you did at that particular event, who am I? What's really dear to me in my life? And, you know, what am I wanting from life, and what am I wanting to business? And how can I most honor that? And how big is it that I dream? You know, for one person, it's just doing a little bit over here, there, which just allows them. For somebody, it's, you know what, I am wanting to build this business that's going to help other women to do this. And it's funny that when you, as it has for you, that when somebody does stop and allows themselves to really check in, that then what happens is that you find something that you're so passionate about, so rooted to, that you can't not do it. You know, there are so many challenges that people face in business, but actually my feeling is that when people stop, and it's why the book starts off with clarity. Once you really stop and you're really rooted, actually, you know what, this is what I really, really am about.
Yeah.
And this is what I really, really, really love. And you know what, these are really, really my skills. Then the chances are that you're going to do that. And then when you combine it with asking yourself, who else shares my values? What are my values? What's my visions? Who else can help me? How can I help them? Then you completely change the dynamic about business, and you turn it into something that is fun, that is play. It is just about serving and just about connecting. It's all about relationships, as you know, through Women Unlimited. And that's what the book is about. It's actually about how do you build a business based on relationships. And also it's quite apt for the times that we're in, because lots of people, when I started in business, I didn't have any money. I didn't know anything of business, didn't have any money. And so I had to be creative. And that will chime, I think, with lots of people who are reading the book.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely. I completely agree. Now, if we look at that clarity for a minute, because I actually think this is the most difficult aspect, actually, of the book, is how do you get clear? So if you were to sort of say, you know, 3 things that people that are watching this could do in their own lives right now to help them with that clarity piece, what would you suggest they do?
There's one thing that that I do in the book that that I also get people to do at my workshops. I invite you to write a list of 6 to 10 individual words. What's most important to you in life? What's most important to you in business? And what's most important to your relationships? Just write down 6 to 10 individual words. What that will do, first of all, is it will just bring to your attention those things that are important. I think, oh, it is about family. Oh, it is about having a little bit of time off. It is about my spirituality. Oh, it is about making enough money to be able to do this. It is about helping people who are disadvantaged. Suddenly, it will bring to your consciousness that's really important, because I think that's what happens a lot of the time. The reason why I think it's so difficult, Julie, is that people have got so much noise of all the other stuff. There should be, I'm now this age, and now this is going on. I should be doing this. I've got all these different roles.
And other people's stuff as well, right?
People's stuff. So it helps you actually become clear about what's really important. And then, so that would be my very first thing. And then I'd say, give yourself just that time, that time to step back, let that consolidate, whether that's that you're in business for some time or that you're starting out. I coach quite a lot of people who've been in business for some time, and actually for them to be able to articulate, what is it about for me now? Okay, I'm at this point with business, but you know what I really want to do? I want to work with this type of people. I want to do this kind of thing. So I think it's giving yourself that space to is really important. And I think the other thing is about and I think this comes throughout the book, but it's there also within clarity. You know, if somebody is really struggling with clarity, seek out those people who are doing what they love and who you really admire, and those people in your network. Sit down with them. Magical things will happen, clarity will happen, but often new opportunities will emerge in that particular space. But you're absolutely right. I think that clarity piece is number one, but I think it's also important to stay clear, because it's one thing becoming clear, but there's another thing, staying clear. So there's a couple of tips around helping people to even spend 10 minutes every day reviewing where they are in their business. So one of the things I put in the book is that, for example, take 10 minutes to review your business. So I have a tool about a 2-page business plan, but also taking 10 minutes out. And I do that every Monday morning.
Oh,
First,
great.
10 minutes, I'll read my business plan, 2-page business plan. I'll ask myself what's really important, because the more you go on a journey, actually, the more often it is useful to check in. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. What's changing? Is that right? And it might just be small degrees, but it really does help you to be clear that, yes, I am rooted. Yes, I am on course. This is what it's really, really about.
Yeah, that's a brilliant tip, Rasheed, because I think when we're operating in our business, or even when we're just starting up in our business, you know, we kind of get drawn this way and that way, and this is a great idea and that's a great idea, particularly for those of us that are entrepreneurs, because we're, you know, that's our nature, right? And it's so easy to get sort of swung on a different path, and actually, and you go down that route and realize this isn't really what I want to do.
You've put your finger on something that's so important that, again, is in the book, and it is picked up on the creativity bit. I think there are those people in life who are, they're people, they're very creative. Those people often feel as though business isn't for them. And this book is saying, okay, how can you use your creativity? How can you use your ideas and go with it? But also those people, sometimes, I'm a little bit like that myself, I can have a million ideas in a day. So it's also helping you to understand, well, actually, what do you need to do in order, okay, whilst you're developing this idea, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, most important. Get the money sorted, and then the rest can grow and develop.
Exactly, but also linking that back to the thing we were saying about before. Once somebody is clear and they know, you know what, this is who I am, this is my values, this is what I'm passionate about, this is the thing I'm creating. Take yourself, for example, then that clarity provides such a driver. It becomes really, 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 really compelling. And I think that what happens for many people, particularly lots of people who are really passionate, it's almost as though all the other paths, I often say that there comes a point in life where you walk so far down one path that all the other paths vanish. And you know, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is what I love. And I think that for many women, particularly, this will resonate with, as well as lots of men and lots of people who are creative and so on. It means that you've got the opportunity to build a business that is so reflective for who you are, and that thing that you talk about, the Roger Hamilton, that one's lifelong legacy, that it becomes very, 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 very powerful indeed, because we're not just creating business here, we're creating things that can enrich our lives and the lives of absolutely everybody. I say in the book, business should never be transactional, it should be transformational.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I think the money thing's quite important. When I started Women Unlimited, I was still running my web business. And for the first 3 years, it wasn't until last year that I closed the doors and said goodbye to all my lovely clients. Because we had to go through this process where the money from Women Unlimited reached a point where I was, you know, because initially, at least for the first 18 months, my web business completely supported the program. And, you know, if you're a consulting, at least, you know, so you can bring in that cash, so it allows you the freedom to really explore your business and develop it.
You're so right. And I think that what you put your finger on also ties into the theme in the book about courage, because I think that there's going to be different points whereby there's going to be different kinds of courage required on that journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have I the courage just to trust that this idea is so dear to me that, you know what, I'm going to pursue it, even though it's not showing any signs of making money for the time being. And you know what, I so believe in it, as you've done, that I am going to invest in it. Or and there's a lovely story actually in the book, and there's a lovely book where I talk about Rachel Elner, who I sat down with and had a conversation. And yes, she had built a successful business, and the successful business, there had been all sorts of challenges, which she's written about, and all sorts of huge problems. And then when we sat down, we had a conversation which was about character, and she was now going on a whole new journey. And that was a spiritual journey, to be who she authentically was and to be authentically who she was in business. So I think that throughout the business journey, there are going to be, at the beginning, in the middle, and throughout, there's going to be all these different challenges that unless you're clear about who you are and what your values are, you're going to really struggle to meet. But if you can meet those things about courage and find out what you're really about, you're going to discover magical things that may well actually give you the edge in your business and in your particular brand, and make it something that's really, really authentic here. And I think that that's what so many people are looking for, because the other side of it is, of course, we only want to buy from businesses that care about. So why not we create a business from any other place than that?
Yeah, totally agree. And it's kind of back to that space thing, isn't it? You have to provide space in your life for that business to grow and develop, because if you don't, if you're just trying to block it on top of everything else that you're doing, it's so difficult to actually ever make it go anywhere.
Completely, absolutely, completely.
So what would you say, what are some of the signs that, if we're in our business at the moment and we're kind of like, not sure, am I a sole trader? But I'm torn because I'm commercial and I want to be profitable.
Yeah.
What are some of the signs that we're sort of in that right space?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think the beautiful thing is now, here we are at the age whereby, in the past, it was about people either went down the spiritual, I'm just doing all this, or, I'm going down a particular path just to be worthy and to do something, and I'm not going to make any money, and it's going to be charitable or whatever, and so on. Or the people who went down purely a commercial road. That's changed now. And many people are saying, you know what, yes, I do need to make money. I do need to support myself. And actually, you know what, I actually am quite excited about being able to build a business that's profitable, or it might be something I'm wanting to scale up, or whatever it is that I want from it, or I just want it to give me a good standard of living. But who are also saying, you know what, I'm also wanting to do something that I'm passionate about, and I'm wanting to do something that's going to impact on people's lives. So I think that that's the era. So really for me, this book is for those people who are wanting to bring those things together. And so the kind of things that might be going on in somebody's mind is that they might be thinking, they might either be a traditionally minded business person thinking, yeah, I am running this business and it is profitable, but for me, there's something missing. I'm just feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling overworked, or I'm just not loving it anymore.
Yeah.
That might be a sign that you're actually wanting to go on a journey to get more from it, from your business, or perhaps in your own life. Maybe you're actually at a point where you're wanting the new relationships, or you're wanting the time out, or you're wanting to just add a new dimension to your business that perhaps before you've never explored. So I think that will be some of those people with whom the book will chime, and who are on that sole trader journey. And someone like Rachel was mentioned in the book, and that was exactly the journey that she had been on. Like many successful business owners, done this and done that, but thought, actually, there's something else here for me. So there's that calling. And I think then there's those people who perhaps, and this will include many people who aren't starting out, who haven't started out yet, or in the early stages, or maybe even 3 or 4 or 5, because I often think 5 years in is still new in business, who are thinking, you know what, yeah, I am passionate about this, but maybe I'm wanting to take this to the next level. Maybe I am, you know what, there is something in this. There's something that I'm really ready. Those people who are really ready. It's a bit like the person like yourself who was at that event realizing, yeah, I do have something here that I'm really passionate about, and it does seem to be a calling, and I'm not quite sure how, but this is for me.
Yeah.
And the book is really about helping that person to coach themselves. And this is why that central theme about cooperation and conversations is really important. This is why it's such a joy chatting to you all at Women Unlimited, because everything is relationships. And the book is about stripping away all that nonsense before, that combative sense that it's got to be very combative, that overly male energy of business. It's completely changed. Until we bring the masculine and the feminine energy together, it's not going to work. So this is the time for the female energy in business, and for many women in business to say, actually, you know what, this is me, this is what I'm wanting to do. Here are the people I know. How can I seek out those people who can help me? And I'm ready now to put myself forward. I think there'll be many people who are realizing, perhaps like yourself, actually, this is something I could do, and I want to take it to the next level. And there's a few people who we know are mentioned in the book, a number of female entrepreneurs who are mentioned there, like Fluke runs Precious Online.
Oh yeah, I love Fluke.
Do you know what I mean? All sorts of people who are, because there are many people right now, and I think this will so chime with you, Julie. They're people who are wanting to really make a difference, either in their world or in the worlds of others, small or big scale.
Yeah.
This is really for those people I often call the teachers, leaders, and the healers. And many of these are women. One might be running this small community group. One might be running this network for women. One of them might be providing a particular type of consultancy. They're all people who are on that particular journey. And this is the invitation for them to be yourself, be authentic yourself, and be yourself in the world, because now is your time. And the resources and the interconnectedness we have means that there is that platform. And if you use those relationships, and if you're authentically yourself, you can really move forward and have a business that nourishes not only you, but the people you care about and the people you're trying to serve.
Now, if we go back to that kind of financial element, what advice would you give for people that are worried about this idea of charging for, you know, something that they feel is coming from the heart? I mean, I know a woman that's started a network, and a great network, and she does not want to charge a lot of money for it because, but you know, from the outside, it's going to be difficult for her to grow that network if she doesn't have the income coming in. So what advice would you have for people like that?
This is a real classic question. I'm so glad you've asked it, because it does emerge. And I think it's one of the things that often takes entrepreneurs some time to grapple with. I think that's often something that's grappled with and over a period of time, actually. I think the first thing is to, and one of the things that the first chapter in the book asks you is, okay, what's really important to you? What are your values? So you're clear about that, because otherwise it's going to be a conflict. But then it asks you, okay, how much do you need to make? Because there is going to be a reality, particularly if somebody's starting out, if let's say they've been in a job before or they're still in a job. We often forget that, you know, that's, you know, again, in your case, and in my case, if we didn't have the job that we were doing before a little bit, how could we do the things that we're wanting to do? So I think, how much do you need to make? And then how much do you want to make? Sometimes, and there is a thing about money in the book that, remember that link the money to what it is that you can do. If you really have a problem with money, think about all the money that comes in terms of what you're going to be doing with that, how many people you can help. So don't relate the money just purely to cash in the bank. Relate it to more services, the fact that you can build this website, that you can now run these events to help people, that you can help 50 people as opposed to 5 people or whatever.
It's an enabler, isn't it?
It's absolutely an enabler. So see, it is just that. But I think there is sometimes giving yourself credit for your own worth. I mean, I meet so many people who don't recognize their own worth, and I think that can be worth you asking yourself, well, actually, how much am I worth? You know, what do I contribute? Because if you don't value what you're doing, how can other people value what it is that you're doing? So I think that sometimes we do need to go on a journey to think, actually, this work I'm doing is really, really important, and people to pay for it, and perhaps with money. And with someone like that to explore, okay, how can you come to a place with it that it feels really healthy for you? Maybe for some people you want to provide that service and it's free because they really don't have any money. Perhaps for somebody else who's really got the money, you could charge them far more. And it's one of the things that I'm keen to explore in my work, to try and make it far more valuable. But you might need to go on that journey to ask yourself, how much is what I'm actually doing actually worth, and how much does it? And also, some people just don't value anything unless there's a price.
That's totally true. That's totally true. In fact, I got some feedback from someone a couple months ago that she didn't come along to my workshops because she thought they were too cheap.
Yeah.
And yet, on the other side of that, there are a bunch of people that find our workshops too expensive. So
this is it.
Finding that balance.
You're so right, Julian. I think this is why it takes us back to that clarity thing, which I don't think entrepreneurs can do enough. Because once you are clear, this is me, and this is why I'm charging X thousand an hour, or this is why I'm not charging that. Once you're clear about that, because none is either right nor wrong. But once you know that you're being nourished and you're clear about your values, it means that you can rest assured knowing that actually this is why I'm doing it and this is what it's about for me. So even if other people are charging a lot more or a lot less, you're unconcerned because you know that you're being authentic to yourself, and other people will still see the value because they know you're being true to your values. The biggest challenge happens is that when we look into anybody's business and think, actually, you know what, I don't believe them. You know, I just don't believe them. It doesn't resonate with me. We're in the era that we really only want to buy from people that really care about us and with things that balance with our values. And also, here's the thing, my message to anybody who's watching this is that unless you and I were having this lovely story just before we came on air about story and using stories and using things like this to inspire women and so on, the only thing that you have uniquely that is your own in your business is you and your story. So if you're not using your value, your mission, and what you're about, and sharing that, which the book is all about helping you do, then that's the only thing that makes you stand out. Because there are a million other coaches, accountants, people who run this network, jewelry makers, and all the rest.
Yeah.
It really invites people to go on that journey to be authentically yourself. And then, because nobody knows what this journey is going to hold, it means that it's then going to be fun, enriching, exciting in ways that you couldn't possibly imagine for you as a soul trader, as somebody who's following your heart. As you know, you're on that kind of journey.
Yeah, totally. I mean, my Joanna Martin does this thing where she says, find your word. What's the word that you want to share? And my word is joy, because I feel so much pleasure in my business every day, everything I do in it, doing the TV, emailing, social networking, the business clubs, creating content, all of it is just, it's like the perfect storm for me.
It is, and and it's funny. The other word I want to throw in there, and it's lovely you saying that, make joy. The book that the last theme before change, which is compassion, is for me it's the opposite end of courage. Because there'll be some people who are watching this, Julie, and they're thinking, you know what, I'm slightly afraid, or I've been listening to this and it's inspiring, but I still don't know how to move forward, or I still, that thing, I haven't sorted out that money thing, or I'm really afraid to put myself forward, or I'm nervous about going to a networking event. Sometimes if you don't feel you have the courage, then the other flip side is compassion, caring enough about yourself and what's really dear to you to allow yourself to go on that journey. And I think it's really, really important. And once you're doing that from that space of love and compassion to yourself, it changes the game, because be it that your watchword is joy, compassion, whatever, it means that you can just put one foot in front of the other, and go on that magical journey to just be who it is that you are. Even for some people, I'd say even put the word business to one side and just see it as what you're doing is just doing something that you love, and that might make it a lot easier too, because business brings with it all sorts of connotations. What we're doing here is framing all of that technical stuff out the way and saying, who are you? What are you passionate about? Who are the people in your life? How can they help you? How can you help them? And how can you go out there and have conversations that are going to lead to opportunities? And that's where business comes from. I think business has been hijacked in a way for a long period of time, feeling it needs to be this. Actually, it's not. It's like you bake cakes and this other person happens to be a musician, this other person happens to do this, and you're exchanging. That's what trade means. One person has this, one person has that. And women are brilliantly placed to do this, and this is why this is actually why I wrote this book. Actually, it's for those people who to run with and to just be themselves and realize, actually, maybe he's right. Maybe business is for me after all.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, I want to give you a big hug, Rasheed, because it's so true. And I think we so often get lost on our business journey. And, the values thing is so important, because I know when I've not been happy in my business, and that's happened to me within Women Unlimited as well. It's because my values, I've not matched my values as a mother with my values as a business owner. And once I was able to bring those together really cohesively, everything just sort of fell into place. And it was at that point that I was really able to start growing the business. And I think people lose sight of it because they think they have to follow a particular path. It's kind of back to that voices thing, isn't it? All these things that are coming at us both externally and internally. And that we forget our reason why and why we're doing this and what we're doing. And I think it's just such an important and powerful message.
You said it all, Julie, because when somebody is clear about their values, and that's what the first chapter does, here are my life, here are my career, here's my relationships, values. And once those things are brought together, you know what? Whatever the journey brings, you will find yourself resourceful enough to do that. And also it means that, very importantly, you'll be able to attract the right people to help you with your business. And I think this is extremely important. In this era where people are talking about getting financial investment and all the rest of it, I often say to people, actually, whose money or whose investment do you even want in your business, or whose support at all?
Yeah.
Mean that not only will you be clear, it will mean that you'll be clear about the right people to help you, the right suppliers, the right kind of customers that you're wanting to attract, the right kind of message that you're wanting to say on your website. You're right, absolutely everything else absolutely follows through. There will still be challenges, but it will be such, to use your word, it will be just such a joy, and it will be so enriching. The challenges will be enriching kind of challenges along the way. So these are really, really, really exciting times that we're in. And even for given the climate, it actually means that when you operate from that space, you won't have to go through the same hoops that other people will go through, because people looking at you, they'll like your business and they say, actually, I want to work with them. It's a completely different category. People aren't judging you. They're not making the decision purely on financial terms, whatever. They're thinking, you know what, that's the brand that I want to associate with. I've heard people come along to your events, like meet them all the time. And there's something about that brand that will really resonate with them. And you can only do that when one's authentic to oneself, one's own calling, and so on. So it's challenging on the one hand, gently challenging. It's invitations, I put it, to go on this journey. But once you go on it, it is quite remarkable because the wins for you personally, your life, and the people who you know, and the people you're there to serve. And that's what it's about also in business. Let's not be too arrogant about it. It's about serving other people. It will be there for really rich because there's that direct connection between who you are and what you're doing, and those people who it is that you're wanting to serve. And that's why that customers chapter is so important, that you deeply understand them, so you're at one with them, you know. And that's again true for you and your brand, because the people who you serve and you and what you're doing, they're all at one. There's a cohesiveness, so there's a fluidity to it, and it will naturally grow, and it will naturally serve those people. And that's a fresh way of looking at business. It needn't be contrived. It can be organic and it can be rich.
Well, that's a brilliant note to close it on, Rasheed. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today. I'll put a link to your book in the show notes. Don't you worry.
I'm so excited.
I highly recommend that you pick it up and read it, because it is transformational when you find that thing that you're supposed to be doing. And I think Rasheed's book is a great guide to be able to help you do that. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good luck on your journey. I just want to say to everyone who's watching this and all of this, good luck on your amazing, and these are really amazing journeys. This isn't a business journey. It's a life journey. So I really want to wish everybody else on the journey that they're on, and to enjoy absolutely every moment of it. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thanks, Rasheed.
Thank you.